All right. Hi there. We're coming together with the Gauntlet to play Session 2 of Space Wurm versus Moonicorn by Johnstone Metzger. Absolutely excellent game. I really, really love this game. And he did something I applaud so much. He made a quick play version of it so that you can really kind of get into the meat of it without doing a more campaign style. It is a game that has so much to it. It is just beautifully put together. A lot of cool fronts. The playbooks are marvelous, and I'm having a blast with it. So really pleased with Johnstone's creation here. It's amazing. I want to also remind our players that we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy. In effect, we want everyone to be comfortable. Everybody should feel like we're in a place where we're all here to have fun. And to go along with that, we also have the X card, which if you don't know, just hold up your hands, put something in the chat, say something to me if it gets to where it's uncomfortable or that, just the play is not fun or we've played something to a point where I'm like, I just don't want to see any more of that sort of thing. Feel free to tell me. I'll do a pullback, may last for a little bit of, definition down to what I need to move to, but then off we'll go. It's no problem. It's here for all of us to have fun, feel safe, and enjoy the game. Last time, we built a world, a universe, where we have Space Wurm, who is the supreme power, the real controlling factor of the universe. And we had discovered that part of the way he does this is through the spice, which is this drug which everyone must take. It's what keeps you safe in the environments you go to. It prevents diseases that would flow between people. It also has the effect of a certain euphoria that causes people to kind of have this openness to the universe itself. It promotes a bit of empathy amongst people, kind of makes them a little high. And this has flowed into a little bit of the religion, which we'll come to in a moment. But through his control of this, Space Wurm is without a doubt the titan of the universe. And also, the drug has a mutagenic quality, which has produced this myriad of mutants, which in our parlance will be aliens. But they're really just people who have gone to such an extent with the mutagen, they're no longer even really their original race. They are new and reformed. And they have a devotion to the spice and therefore to Space Wurm. And his influence over them is enormous to be able to manipulate, use, and control them. His counterpoint is our beacon of light, our agent of freedom, Moonicorn, who travels through the universe promoting change and freeing people of the bonds that bind them. And invariably, where Moonicorn goes, trouble follows her. We also have Baby, who I'm going to have y'all kind of give your real introductions and tell us everybody what you look like. It's going to be a treat. We'll get that in just a second. I'll just say we have Baby, who is in control of our cybernetics front in this game, and who cybernetics are extremely advanced in our universe. We have AIs, we have robotics, we have cybernetics and implants. It is ubiquitous to the entirety of the universe. It has an element of the AIs that get to prove themselves or through their own clever maneuvers are recognized as citizens and get full status sort of things. Then we have a whole set of the intelligence, the AIs who have been kind of enslaved, kind of contracted to force them to stay within that limit of, oh, well, they shouldn't be free. They aren't real people. And so we have Asher, who will be coming along, who believes that this should end and that we have these intelligent, true beings being enslaved. Below them, we have a virtual intelligence and a whole front of that, of robots who are very much able to seem completely free thinking. But there is, of course, always the element of their programming. And as I say, all other technology just everywhere, all sorts of wonderful technologies. Still, because I suppose its broadness, something that Space Wurm has not been able to completely wrap his claws around. We had Asher, the space ghost, who had taken over the front of interstellar travel. And we have an interstellar travel where we have a hyperspace that certain pilots are able to kind of intuit through better than others. There are, abilities to use navigation computers, but it seems like certain pilots are much more in tune and much better at it. And we have to make fairly short jumps because the hyperspace can be turbulent, and especially, say, if Moonicorn's there. But there also seems to be this idea that something lurks in the hyperspace, that there is something out there that makes contact on occasion. And we have a corporation that controls the production of the hyper engines. And it's kind of a shadowy corporation that we never know what their board is, and those that go and join it never leave. And if you ask them, it's the best job I've ever had, sort of feelings. We also have religion controlled by Emin Poe, our messiah from another planet. And our religion in this universe is this monolithic structure religion that sort of permeates everything. And it is a kind of a universal in consciousness and philosophy, as well as across its spread, in that it believes in meditation. It believes in purging the sins and the corruptions that come from, allowing yourself to draw in these things. They have a certain element of all peoples are one, and they have a secret-y sort of thing, that there are mysteries you learn as you go further in. And this religion is complete across and has maintained its independence from Space Wurm's control. But at the same time, there's a little element, certainly when we hear of Poe, that there's sometimes some groups in this religion that aren't quite on the same page altogether. And so I'm going to have everyone introduce their character, tell a little bit about them, and if there's something in the front that I didn't mention, feel free to bring that up as well. Let's start, as we almost always do, with our Space Wurm.
Right, so I am the Space Wurm. I am playing the most multitudinous executor, and aka Space Wurm. He has introduced the universal vaccine to the known cosmos. Given that as humanity has spread and encountered other environments, that inevitably they'd be encountering nasty diseases of every kind, and the universal vaccine was designed to help humanity withstand anything that could be encountered in any environment. And in the process, it has mutated humanity to the point where it has become a multitudinous species. And he's kind of like kind of taken upon himself to be the ultimate embodiment of mutation and proliferation of different life forms. So he is in control of the aliens front and the spice, that being the vaccine front. It does have mutagenic properties. It can induce some kind of psychic ability as part of that mutation, and it does have a euphoric effect. And that's his main thing. And he himself can basically his physical form is kind of like a ever-evolving muddle of various humanoid forms, kind of like almost a gelatinous multitude kind of thing. But he can ultimately evolve into the Great Worm, his ultimate physical paragon, apex form, that being a giant dragon, hence the name Space Wurm.
All right, and so you have the Great Worm special move, and what was your second move?
Oh, yes. So Oh, that's right. I needed a second move. Did I pick one?
Yeah, would you like to take a second, or did you choose one?
I'm going to need a second.
No problem.
So
No
why
problem
don't
at
you come
all.
back to me and I'll have that set.
Okie doke. Well, second, and in no way lesser than Great Space Worm, is our Moonicorn. River?
Oh, what? Oh, no, I just traveled here, and then there was this sort of robot protest that suddenly changed, and like all the contracts with the workers on this world changed. And so I went to see what was going on. I talked to the union people because I'm good at talking to people. I can talk to anybody. Maybe it's just my sunset hair that's distracting them, but either way, I'm supposed to be helping them figure out what's going on. And I think I may have stopped an assassination of the union leader, maybe. But we'll see. Mostly, I'm just riding the wave right now, and um, I have to finish this real soon, or otherwise, baby's gonna do something.
All right. And maybe a description of Zenobia?
Zenobia is a young lady with rainbow hair and just sort of a general kind of rock and roll, punky sort of vibe. Definitely. Oh yeah, that's right. Very Macross.
Excellent. And you had the move of Speak from the Heart. Did you pick a second move?
No.
All right. Then I'll give you a second and I'll come back to it. So take a look at your second. And also, it is important to note for Moonicorn, this is something for you to think of as well, because we're starting second session. You get to pick another set of bonds with all the others. And that's you're going to get to do that, because keep in mind some of your things you use bonds as a currency. So as we get into action, you may start wanting to burn some bonds to power some stuff. So this will give you a little more fuel for the fire, but take a look and you can come up with something unique yourself that's come from kind of what we've discovered in play. And like I say, I'll give us a little recap before we hop in. Let's go next to our Messiah from another planet. Rich, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. Eamon Poe is his friends, because he doesn't have followers, he has friends, sees the Messiah, but really he's just a reformer in the universal religion, who emphasizes less purity and more ecstatic experience. He has sort of an agelessly youthful look. He has very sort of ethereal eyes, and he's always wearing clothes that are sort of silky and involve long wrappings and veils. And as a person of faith, he actually is more of a, people describe him as a person of faith, but he's really more of a person of vision. He really is not so sure what he believes in, or if he really believes the official religion is the true one. But he's a person who believes strongly in his own capacities and the capacities of his friends, because he doesn't have followers; he has friends. And his special move is his ability to bend light and darkness around himself, just to kind of externalize the way he focuses on things. And he's also a visionary. He has a profound sense of vision about his purpose and his mission, and he is always trusted Zenobia and always will trust Zenobia. He's spoken about Zenobia's gifts, musical gifts, before to his friends, and he is officially an opponent of everything Space Worm stands for, but he's secretly in love with Space Worm.
Lovely. Oh, that's fantastic. All righty. And perhaps our space ghost can introduce itself or their selves.
So yeah, I'm playing Asher Ness, the space ghost, who was someone who died while in hyperspace and had enough guilt, regrets on their conscience, that it's sort of the psychic echoes stayed in that place, and they came back eventually as a new being returned for a purpose, vengeance, or at least to right things. They're very based off of like Cloak of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, but just big, voluminous, all-encompassing cloak and cowl. Underneath, there's not really a body; it's just a sort of infinite starscape. If you see underneath, with two sort of like cold, dead, burning suns for eyes. They spent a lot of time last time lurking around, following other people and sort of judging their passions and motivations, trying to dig into the strange hive-mindedness that seems to be going on this planet, and something about the situation with the uprising called to Asher, because all of those beings wouldn't have just, all of those AIs wouldn't have just given up, laid down their rights without any struggle. And that's what called him back from the void, is that there's this whole like subclass of AIs, the billions and billions of individuals who are under like electronic programming yokes, so they technically qualify legally as not independent sentient beings when really they are. And that's who Asher is hunting down, the people that are in charge of that, the people that have played this trick to get their whole slave class of AIs. And Baby, my good friend Baby, is definitely going to help me in all of my goals and not have any of its own goals at all.
Yeah, I bet that's it. Did you pick your second move?
Yes, I had Phantomas before, which is where I was sneaking around everywhere. Now I have the Spirit of Science, which is I have special equipment brought back with me for my adventuring / revenging needs.
Excellent. And we're going to finish with a nightmare that haunted me well after the game ended last time. David, will you introduce our creature from the Ghoul Star?
Yeah, so as has been alluded to, Baby is the creature from the Ghoul Star. Baby looks like an oversized child's doll that I have a photo of it that I put on the character keeper that is actually a real life robot that somebody made, and it's terrifying. That kind of thing just shouldn't exist in the real world. But it's just uncanny valley to the extreme. But Baby is motivated by this desire to consume technological inventions. Yeah, there's Baby. It's kind of gray skin. Like, come on. Who made that? And so Baby wants to consume all of this technology, and so has thus allied itself with the space worm. So far, we haven't really actually seen Baby move that much. Baby has just been carried around, but there's always sinister overtones to everything that Baby is doing and saying. And as far as a second special move, I have selected Life Transference.
All right.
So we'll get somebody alone, and we'll swap bodies.
Oh, that's wild. All right. And your first move was that Taste of Memory, which allows you to gain memories by eating things.
Yeah.
Lovely. All right. So Space Worm, did you come up with a second move?
Yes, I opted for the Voice of the God Emperor. Figured my prolonged saturation in the universal vaccine is, or excuse me, weirdly module is the name of the move. No doubt a extreme psionic after effect of being saturated in the vaccine. So I can speak with the voice of the God Emperor when I give an NPC, not a PC, but an NPC a direct order. They either have to freak out and attack me, run away, or do what I say. So that's what I took.
Neat. All right, and River, has Moonicorn picked a second move?
Yes. Moonicorn has taken Disarm. Whenever I take a stand, if I lower my integrity by 1, I can disarm my opponent, in addition to the other options that are already there.
Excellent. Cool, cool, cool. And we're going to have you build your bonds in just a second, because I'm going to do just a real quick recap and then have you rebuild your bond or add new bonds, because, you know, maybe it'll key off a little bit of things that Zenobia has learned to add there. We had indeed seen at Space Wurm's great and magnificent throne room, I suppose is the best way to describe it. A symposium had been organized and people were exchanging ideas, and everyone was there but Zenobia, chatting with all the other learned people when Space Wurm had discovered that there was a strike going on amongst the robots that worked at one of the primary spice production plants, where they were demanding equal rights and equal pay, and you know, these robots. And so, of course, the human workers were saying, no, that seems terrible. And it was sufficient that Space Wurm sent Baby to go and investigate and get these robots back in line. Fate, or the cosmos, had also directed Zenobia as her ship was traveling through hyperspace, running into trouble and having to ditch out on the planet of Shalom. Rich, did you have something? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. On the planet of Shalom, where this strike is going on, and arriving had found the crew there to be very strange, emotionless, knowing her, sort of saying, we know you're here to help us, you're one of us. And as she left, had encountered Baby, who was like, oh, so you're here, let's make sure we're not in opposition on this. Finding out not, Baby had taken it on itself to rectify the problem. Meanwhile, Zenobia had found where these riots and strikes were going on, but we had discovered that the entirety of the executive board had just caved right in, that they were giving these rights to the robots, and that it was causing the humans to near riot. And Moonicorn agrees to help the humans go in and speak with the executives. And we had seen amongst the executives someone who Zenobia thought might be even attempting to kill their leader, but due to her presence had backed off. And we knew that this delegation of the humans was going to go in to speak to the executives and demand that, you know, human rights are real rights and robot rights are not existent. Meanwhile, Space Ghost Asher had come arriving, stepping out of the ether almost, though almost surely on a ship at some point, to speak to one of the crewmen that had brought in Zenobia, and found the crewman to not be entirely human. Its eyes had silvered over, and it had said that Zenobia was here to free them. Zenobia was going to change it all. But Asher had detected something was beyond this, that there was some greater control over all of these robots, really, than just independent sparks of freedom. Something lay beyond it. And Poe, this planet's messiah, had also come to Shalom and had been moving through looking for Zenobia, knowing that Zenobia was kind of a pure spirit in this world. And it's seen where these humans were acting, and, you know, perhaps were wanting to, at least one of them had reached towards a robot to influence it. But then that human hadn't seemed quite right either, as he moved away looking at Poe. And Poe had just seen the word that Zenobia was helping these strikers, and across the square could see Zenobia and this group of delegates heading off. Space Ghost had, or Asher, had joined up, heading in with Baby. Actually, Baby had gone in first to the main executive thing to find out why they had not followed orders, what was going on here. Had moved through reception pretty quickly and encountered a couple of security guards, but had talked right through them and taken a lift up to meet with the board. As at that point, Azure faded into the elevator with it, and together they had a little discussion of, you know, how the AIs were going to be freed, and that this really may be one of those moments. And I know you're helping me, Baby. And Baby's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, help.
Yeah, important to note that to Ness, Baby looks like Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing.
The best detail ever.
Absolutely. Because indeed, Asher does not perceive Baby as this little robotic guy. It instead is this projection of Baby from Dirty Dancing. Never see Dirty Dancing, River?
No, it's so nope. But you know, it is par for the course with Baby.
And as the elevator doors had slid open, we see a whole security detail there with their guns drawn, leveled at Baby and Asher. Meanwhile, our final scene is seeing Space Wurm back at his throne room, all of his technological devices around him, as he discovers that his executives have not followed their orders. And this makes him think. And I believe that, would you like to describe out that last thought of Space Wurm as we ended?
Yeah, that's a good. Basically, he noted, sensing that this wasn't just a simple malfunction, that there was something else moving the AIs, and perhaps something even involving their level of their sentience. He wanted to start analyzing it, perhaps even trying to consider or study the situation to see what could be moving the AIs, and seeing how that could play into his grand schemes to, say, take control over one of the other fronts, such as cybernetics, or that'd probably be the most applicable one. But yeah, that's what he's thinking.
Excellent. All right, and I think we're going to pick up, just because it's I'm going to give a moment before we hit the elevator door open scene. Even though, that's nice action, I first think we're going to start with you, Poe, seeing Zenobia heading in with this delegation across the way. Do you wish to try and move up to her and them, or follow, or what would you like to do?
Could you repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
Oh, you've seen Zenobia across the way, heading, like, she and this delegation are heading into the factory. Do you wish to follow? Do you go up and say something to Zenobia before they go? What would you like to do?
I think I'm going to try to kind of slip in behind her and then try to sort of catch her eye, just kind of walking along with the workers.
All right, Zenobia, looking back, you see Poe at the edge of this crowd looking at you. And I suppose, I was about to forget, this would be the time for you, Zenobia, to add your new bonds.
Yes. Well, I think what's appropriate here would be for me to sort of innuendo to Eamon, help! Because while she plays at being completely ditzy, she does have much more understanding of what's going on than she appears. That still isn't very much.
But you think that that would be the bond that who do you go to for help when you need to? For Poe? Or you want to play that off a little different?
Yeah. Yeah. Poe's definitely who I go to for help.
All right.
I sort of just kind of wrote my own for a few of these.
That's perfectly fine. So go ahead and lay them out real quick.
Okay. So I must quell baby's appetite for destruction.
Ooh.
I will bring Space Wurm into public view. And I do not have one for a second one for Asher yet.
Okay, that's fine. If you want to say here in the next couple of bits, especially once y'all have like interacted, then you can pull one in. Again, they're a currency for you, so you kind of want to kind of grab it early. So cool. Into the light. Excellent. Okay, so you see this look, Poe. Do you recognize it?
I think so.
That's a good question Michael's asking there real quick there for you, River. Does that mean goading him to like show the more monstrous form like that great worm, or is it more like uncover nefarious deeds? Or
I think I want all of the universe to see Space Worm in their sort of like neutral state, or in their great worm state, not as like one of the many hands that they have out in the galaxy.
So just really put a spotlight on this creature that is leading you all. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, Poe, you see that look.
I see that, and I just confidently stride up and take Zenobia's arm. Just sort of like Zenobia's leading me.
Oh, the other way around. Okay.
Yeah, so I just gently slide my hand underneath Zenobia's arm and just sort of bow to the onlookers. And I don't say anything. But I make several big sort of religious gestures and do several blessing signs.
I just sort of like put my hand on your shoulder as we're crossing the threshold.
Okay. And the crowd there is this high potentate of the religion, and seeing you accept him coming up and sort of patting, they smile and say, "Oh, the church is even behind us. This is very good." As you head into that front area, and there's a very frazzled looking receptionist standing there. "Look, you can't come in right now. You would need an appointment." And I'm going to cut to upstairs as the elevator doors have opened, and Baby and Asher, there are guns pointed at you. Baby, what do you do?
So I imagine these are futuristic sci-fi guns, right?
Yeah, we got the full phaser look.
Sweet. I will be just giving in to my desire to consume the technology that is being offered to me, pointed at me.
Fantastic. Are you going to pursue your hunger?
Yeah.
Roll away, sir.
All right. 12. So I choose 3. I resist one source of harm as if it were nothing. Sure. Seize control of someone or something. That will be anyone pointing guns at me.
Okay.
and will shine too bright to look at. That sounds neat.
That does sound neat. Okay, so I'm going to. Do you come out of the servitor's arms, or is it just this brightness sort of reaches out as you're still held, cradled?
So I'm just being cradled in his arms, and my little face like pivots, on like a servitor towards them. And have you seen Westworld? Seen any of that?
Bits and pieces.
Okay. Well, there's a part where this robot's face pops open. That's what happens. Robot's face pops open, and it's just a bright light that comes out and consumes whatever energy is like being put off by these weapons. And they either shoot at me and it absorbs all that, or they don't shoot at me and the guns are ineffective. I'll leave that up to you.
I think we at least see one of them fire, and it just absorbed right in, and his eyes kind of open wide, and it's some of the first emotion you've seen at all on any of these guys.
Yeah. And I'm curious what it looks like to Ness.
So I think because like when the elevator doors had opened dramatically and there were all the men with guns, the like Jennifer Grey baby had sort of terror on her face shrunk back from it. And I think Asher just like dives across the open doorway and grabs her and like envelops her in their cloak and is like hunched down protecting them as this explosion goes off. And I'm not sure what happened, but Asher just looks up into the hallway and these guys they're disarmed, certainly. How are they doing?
Since you say you're taking control of them as well, it sounds like this light, absorbs first the shot and then is pouring out to them. As what does it look like? I'll say that sounds like you're disabling them. You get a feel of not only their guns but them. There is technology you're feeling.
Sweet. So they were some of the Cybermen or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we're like all their eyes like that silvery gray, because they were like in communication or whatever. I think all of their eyes just like turn off. They just go black, beetle black, as I absorb whatever was in them, and then my face just slams shut. And I like the idea that like Ness is doing all of this, and there's just a man holding something like kind of fuzzy in the background whenever it's like the camera's focused on you, like you just ignore it.
But yeah, I help baby back up to her feet, and I say, whatever it was, they seem to have blown up whatever weapon they were trying to use on us. Are you all right?
And she's like exhausted and but kind of flustered. And she's like, I'm fine. That was very brave. Thank you so much. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're strange men.
We're just lucky whatever strange bomb they were using went off early. We need to be careful, though. It won't be that easy going forward.
Yeah, they almost put me in a corner.
Nobody, baby. I wouldn't let anybody.
All right, downstairs. Poe and Zenobia, as this, receptionist is trying to hold you back, and the guys you're with and the workers are, we'll be heard. When we get wah, 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 sounding from inside, and she looks down at her, my goodness, and we hear upstairs this sort of energy flux there, as I think there probably was some sound from these guys getting zapped. What do you do, Zenobia? You're muted, my dear.
I know, that's actually what I said. I'm going to unmute myself first. And then I've got to know what just happened. Do I get a sense of who caused that kaboom? I think all the rebel rousers are with me. I know it can't be baby because it said it would give me 3 days.
Why don't we, you could assess the situation if you would like.
Yeah. Okay. That's 14.
Wow.
That's a roll I probably could have used later.
You as you're, you hear this, and the guys behind are actually kind of surprised, and they're looking around nervously what's going on, and we see some security people rushing back, heading up a stairway. But baby, when you and Asher had come out of the lift, since I assumed you would come out of the lift, that's fair to assume. As you had come out, you had seen coming down either side of this hallway, two, one on each side, rather large security bots. Just tell us so that Zenobia knows, what did it sound like when you, well, no, how about you, Asher? I know you just got cool stuff. What did it sound like when you took those two out just in rapid?
So yeah, I think as they come running up, like I put an arm back for baby, and I'm like, just hold back. I'll take care of these two. And I go dashing valiantly forward. And out of sort of the cloaking folds, there's like a electrified lightsaber whip sort of thing. And as one of them comes skidding to a stop and bringing its gun up, I'm just dashing between them. I reach up and I like grab its gun arm with like an lightning electro sort of static sound going off, and just whip it to the side so it starts using its own gun to blast through the other one. Before I hit it a couple more times with like lightning strokes and take it apart.
All right. And this, this whip.
Well, I suppose it's a thing.
What?
Just a move.
All right.
I'm doing something dangerous with mind instead of body.
Okay.
Which is 9, which means that my equipment saves the day and I remain unharmed, but now this equipment is broken and no longer works.
All right. So as this whips around, and does it have a kind of distinctive sound to it?
Like I was saying, those lightning electrical strikes.
Okay. And so down in the hall, in the reception area below, Zenobia, you've been with Asher before.
Yeah, when they've taken on something big and dangerous and all that jazz.
So you sense, you can kind of hear that lightning strike sound, and you can see all the lights in here kind of blinking a bit, and on the screens that are around at the security desk, you can see them static, and then all of them are looking down at you. See Zenobia, Asher, and I suppose baby and the servitor. I doubt that you won't see Jennifer Grey. I think that's just what Asher sees. But you see them there in this hallway with smoking hulks of these robots beside them, clearly causing a little mayhem.
I turn to the to the workers and I say, "Oh no, this place is under attack. You should go. This isn't safe for you."
They but go ahead, Poe.
I was going to say I would like to grant Zenobia a beatific glow, as if sort of a gentle, soft light is just radiating from Zenobia, which is how I always imagine Zenobia anyway in my head.
Excellent. Why don't you roll your bend light and darkness for us?
That is an 8.
Ooh, an unintended.
Zenobia starts to glow, but there's some sort of There's some sort of unexpected effect, I believe. There's an unintended complication.
All right. And so this glow begins to rise up around you, Zenobia, as you say this, and these labor people were not expecting any of this shit to be going on. So they've kind of are you sure you'll be safe? Are you sure you'll be safe? But as they're saying that one you had seen who had tried to make a move on their leader sees you in this glow. His eyes into that silver. He moves forward. You see him pull out a gun. You cannot be corrupted. You cannot be corrupted. And he is fixing to try and shoot you. What do you do?
I would like to step in the way dramatically.
Ooh, excellent. All right. Then why don't we do...
I believe I have defend.
Defend, yeah. I do have to flip through a lot of stuff. Each playbook with each different move, I am really scooting through. How'd you do, sir?
A 6. I completely fail to defend Zenobia.
Oh, do you know what happens, though? When you step up and I'm letting go of your shoulder, I say, I believe in you, Eamon. And I burn an integrity and turn it to a 10 plus.
Oh, fantastic. Instead it's this 10, and what happens? What you not only are defending it, Zenobia, but this person in front of you, this big creature thing in front of you now. How do you stop him?
When I defend, I at a 10 plus, I redirect any attack or harm from them to me, and then I remain unharmed as well.
Is that your choice?
Yeah, that's my choice for a 10 plus.
So as this blast that it was going to fire, and the weapon it has, very powerful, but isn't going to be it probably uses up its big charge, so it makes sure it's the largest blast it can do. And as it blasts into you step in front and take it, it's as though it just slides off of you. The blast itself just seems to part by your caught in that glow from Moonicorn, sort of slides across, and the thing, its eyes wide, silver. No. As these laborers just grab hold of him and begin slamming him down and hauling it away. We're so sorry.
No, don't. Oh, dang it.
They do batter it down, and you can see them stomping at him.
You could take a stand.
You could.
Yeah, I think before they are able to do too much damage, I am going to take a stand. I'm going to just throw myself into the middle of it. And I say, no, he didn't attack you.
All right. Lower your integrity by 1. And let's see. So you're choosing an option on there. Are you drawing the immediate attention of everyone around you, or?
I think what I'm going to do is switch it over to the alien moon, and I'm going to draw attention of the Union leader, because he's the guy that can actually control these people.
Oh, okay.
Also, if I lean on my control of the crowd too much, it's going to get real obvious, and they're going to turn on me. So, yeah, I'm going to... Yeah.
Did you take Alien Moon?
I did. That was my bonus move.
Oh, I gotcha.
It combos very, very dangerously with Speak from the Heart.
Excellent. Okie dokie. So as he looks up and you're saying this, stop.
And I'm totally taking the hits too. Like, if that's what's happening.
All right, then yeah. I mean, as you step in, and you will, someone will cut you across the jaw, and there's maybe that little bit of blood, and that's probably what really, as he's saying this, they stop, they realize what they've done, who they've hit. It's like we're sorry, Zenobia. We're so sorry.
It's fine, but as the fur continues to fly, it's only going to get more dangerous. This isn't what you signed up for. Leave this to us, and I'll try to see what this poor soul wanted.
They look around at each other, and it's not hard to convince them at this point that leaving is the better part of valor here. And so they do retreat back as you have this thing laying there. It's battered, and you can see like its neck is at a weird angle, but it's sort of moving a little. And as you look, there's a bit of a spark.
Stranger, tell me.
You're to be prophet. You're here to liberate us. You must be pure.
I am here to help. But I can't help you if you're dead.
You become like them. He looks over at Poe. You should be like us.
I cannot control what the prophet does and how he shows his love.
You are still too much of the flesh. We will make you pure. We will make you pure. You can see that light starting to fade out of its eyes.
Who do you represent?
Great matrix between will free us all. And you are the key. And something in that reminds you of Asher. Something in that makes you think of things Asher has said. As eyes die out, we will make you pure.
I grumble under my breath. Purity is an outdated concept. I stand up and dust myself off and turn to Eamon and say, Eamon.
Adam.
What has become of this place?
I do not know. I arrived here shortly after you did.
And River, I think that you probably gained an integrity back there as you took a stand and stood for what you believed in.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're gonna cut. I want to get Space Wurm in here a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think you're probably getting these, because all this data that comes into you, you're getting almost this real-time report.
Yep.
Maybe even some security cameras for you. What are you doing?
Yeah, I've got all my underlings all at my behest. I'm taking the lead. We're just trying to hack this situation, trying to figure out what is moving the situation, what this grand matrix is all about. In fact, I'm wondering if this is a time for me to consider or study the situation, as I had alluded to before. To see if I can. Basically, I'm trying to play this balancing act between letting this situation unfold. If I can learn the secret of AI mutation and evolution, even if it ends up hampering my vaccine production, it's a delicate balance. So I'm just trying to skirt the edge here, and yeah, that's why I've been so busy behind the scenes while everyone else is running around on the front lines for now, at least. So
and roll away.
Okay. And this is plus power. My power, I believe, is still at +2. This is my first power roll.
Because you're still in your place of power.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And let me get my dice up. Looks like I'll go for the red dice. Submit. And there's my dice. And I'll put this in the center. I finally learned that I always put my dice too far to the right, and that's why they disappear. And now we are rolling. Oh, look at that. Well, it's a good thing I'm in my place of power. What does being in my place of power mean again?
It just means that you're always at 2 power when you're in your place of power.
For all the good that does me. So I botched, and you'll tell me something interesting and introduce a complication. I botched as much as you can botch. Well, no, I could have had 0 power, but anyway, I botched.
As you're, studying all of this information and seeing this going on, you can kind of see your information sources getting cut. As because everything that comes to you, it comes super fast, but it does travel through hyperspace. To do that, you start seeing these things getting dropped. The screen there that you're watching, the information feed, until all around you, your screens have gone dark.
Okay, looks like my petri dish has been cut off by my own petri dish here. So it looks like I'm going to have to check this out personally. I'll get a corporate battalion together under my personal direction, which freaks people out because I almost never go out into the wild. But this is good. It's been a while since this is what the vaccine's all about: getting out there and not just holding up in our massive corporate fortresses. And basically, I'll be traveling in my own special gilded. Almost like a levitating anti-grav chariot kind of thing, kind of like the tanks that the Spice Guild in the Dune movie were floating around in. Except it's not like a contained thing. It's open air, but it has that kind of vibe about it. So yeah, I'll get my entourage together and get into my personal hyper yacht. And and if I've lost contact even with Baby, I'm definitely gonna have to get over there and see what's going on.
All right, and so you quickly they have it all always ready for when Space Wurm wishes to go, and we see it lift up and head out, leaving your home planet there and hit hyperspace. And as you go across, as you hit into hyperspace, heading towards Salome, for a moment, you almost feel like someone is watching you. Off you go.
Okay.
Baby and Asher, you have been, you've had these things sort of come and attack you, and have walked a little bit in these hallways, and you see these boardrooms that are here, but they don't seem like they've been used very much. There's just no people except for some guards that you can hear, setting themselves up, probably either planning to come at you or setting up some sort of defense. But you're aware of where to go to, say, get to the main boardroom.
I'm heading that way because I know somebody involved with collaring AIs had to be part of that deal, because all the robots just went back to work today and all they got was some pay raise or something. And so like they have to be here, so that would be the place to look.
All right. The three of you, four of you.
Well, it's me, Baby, and Baby's valet or whatever.
Right. The three of you heading down the hall come to these two big double doors. And as you open them up, we see this boardroom. But the first thing that hits you is this smell. You see 8 people who are all slumped down on the table. You can see blood where they have been shot and killed. You can see the blood is spread across the table. Their papers are there. They have screens up all around that are showing the factory. And you could see where all of the robots have come in and they're going back to their work at the factory. We don't see any of the humans. Just the robots are there because they're still on strike. The humans now have, gone on to striking this. But dead people.
I'm gonna move into the room and I guess go down like one side of the table, and like I'm running my hand across the table, and as it reaches like the chairs and the dead people, my hand just sort of moves through them, and I think there's just for a moment while my form's going through them, there's like this blue outlined sort of time-lapse ghost of like them there in whatever action they were in before they died, going through their deaths maybe a couple times, and then it disappears as I move on to the next one. To try and assess.
All right. And so roll that. And Baby, what are you doing?
So I kind of consumed all of those, all that tech right near the elevator door.
Mm-hmm.
So per my taste of memory move, I would like to gain 1 memory. Either gain 1 you already knew it had, or I may ask the GM for 1.
Okay.
What I want to know, and I assume it would already know this, or they would already have known this, like the precise moment when they gained a collective sentience. That's what I want to know.
Alrighty. You have this as it's coming in, and you're feeding off of the energies from them, and you're seeing flashes of, there's a whole slew of them just doing normal tasks of being security guards, and you can hear their memories. They remember, the family they go to, their favorite cafe, just like they're completely normal. And then about 2 weeks ago, it's like there's a snap, and they remember, I am not human. I have been waiting. The Great Matrix is here, and their program is activated. And you can sense that they know they're not alone. They know there are more of each other across this planet. And they also know there are more of them across the universe.
Okay. So I promised Space Wurm that I would come here and I would roll back their software. I want to hook up to whatever like networks with all of them and then consume this knowledge. I don't actually roll back software. I don't keep backlogs of software. I just eat it. So that they forget that they're supposed to be something beyond what we want them to be, which is an unpaid do what you're told bot. So is that possible from this room, or do I need to get somewhere else?
You to try and take it, you feel like you could do it with each of them individually, but this was something huge. You would have to find like the source of this to like reprogram all.
Gotcha.
So it has that feel of, first off, you would have to find them individually. then you could wipe them back to what they were.
Okay, so it's not like a just this factory. I could wipe this factory. I have to find the source of all of this.
Again, you could do something like boost to, find something that, fits, like, a transmitter here in the factory and get the factory maybe. But there's nothing that would be big enough for the city, and certainly nothing for the planet, and nothing for the universe.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And how was your assess, Patrick?
So my question about the situation, I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is what happened to them, who killed them. But I got a 9. That's something useful and interesting.
Okay. As you kind of move through, and you get these, kind of like after images that show really that the security people kind of came in and just shot them. And you could see that they were in the midst, all of them were, completely against giving these robots their, this equal pay. We can't take that first step forward or they'll start wanting more and more and more. These were all die hard against, doing what the robots wanted, which can give you an idea of why just last night things suddenly changed. But as you're doing this, the screens, as you're looking up, get this sort of star field look to them for you. And you hear a voice. It seems familiar. You can't place where. We're going to be free. Continue your work. And it sounds like it sounds like hyperspace. It sounds like the whispers of hyperspace to you. You're muted, dear.
Sorry. I think there's this moment as Asher is staring into the screen and then just lets out a sort of unearthly electronic sort of screeching noise as he doubles over. And he'll just stand up, sort of panting for a moment, and look to Baby and say, this is an infection spreading. We need to find somewhere that can broadcast to this whole planet. We need to find a way to touch them all.
And the Jennifer Baby leans down and puts a hand where your cheek would be if you were a regular thing. And you notice for the first time something very strange. She can touch you. You can't touch anything.
It's true. I hadn't thought about grabbing her earlier.
And that's when life transference, I think, is going to happen.
Oh.
You monster.
That's so great.
So I decide who's worse. I think I'm worse. If you choose yourself, right, your mind switch bodies and you swap character sheets.
Wow.
How does that even...
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So you can choose to switch back at the beginning of the next sequence unless you've already somehow swapped bodies in another way. But you're about to find yourself in a tiny little husk of a baby doll thing.
Well, you've got a ghost body and 2 more magic items to use.
All right. Ghost body ought to get me closer to a big transmitter quicker.
So yeah, I think there's probably a few moments of disorientation, what with being in a tiny, horrifying robot baby body that should never have been made. What are you doing?
like I'm out of here. I'm looking for a way to like transmit a bigger signal, just like we just talked about.
All right, and so, baby Asher, you see,
Letter of the fucking law, baby. Letter of the fucking law.
You see, you head out looking for something to broadcast. Behind you is left a probably very confused Asher in the held baby form. As downstairs, Poe and Zenobia. All of this is going on. The workers have gone. We've seen that replicant, we'll call it, having died off there. What do you do, Poe?
I asked the receptionist if we still need an appointment.
You could go right up.
I make a deep bow and gesture for Zenobia to lead the way.
Thank you, dear.
So y'all begin heading up. You take the stairs as the lift doesn't seem to be working anymore.
I presume we hear a blood-curdling scream from Asher baby, or is it baby Asher? Which order is which?
I think that probably we'll say Asher baby is the one running around, and baby Asher is now Asher as a baby.
Okay.
Ow.
I guess for now. And as you're heading up the stairs, you can see that the security people, have been rushing. They're heading upstairs as well. But they kind of are ignoring, like, getting in your way, either one of you. But it's not like they'll see you. They look at you, they go around you, and you notice that a couple of them have kind of fallen into step near you, Zenobia.
Well, that was going to answer the question I had about are there any of these folks who are part of the Great Matrix, I think it was called? And the answer is apparently yes, there are.
It seems likely. And so as y'all head up, you see coming down as you reach the kind of third floor of this, you see coming down Asher. Now, at least that's what it looks like.
Asher. I sprint ahead.
All right, David, Asher, you see Zenobia running towards you.
I'm just trying to dodge around them. Like, I've got a place to go. I'm very busy.
I imagine you're going up. I mean, is the security staff taking notice of air quotes Asher?
That does come to a question here of you have the ability to be pretty much invisible at this point, don't you, David, there? If you wanted to be, you could be moving through this invisible, and I still think I'm going to have Zenobia be able to notice you as you come down. I think there's probably a little less
control. With the Phantomas is a rolled move to see if anybody notices you if you're trying to be stealthy.
Mm.
So yeah,
when you decide you are secretly watching a scene you are not already in. I'm not really doing that.
That's true.
So, you already here.
Yeah, I think I'm here. You see me.
Then yes, security people as you come running down towards Zenobia, those that are with you, Zenobia, have lifted up weapons. So you see, David, as I think it's just easier to call your names. I try and stay with characters, but it's probably going to be easier in this instance. They're preparing to fire at you, and honestly, Zenobia's in between you. They aren't aiming for her by any stretch, but it's dangerous.
And the question is, what do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? So you're just moving straight past Zenobia?
I'll just go up through the ceiling because I can just move through objects.
Fantastic. So a leap and just
Right. That.
One of these security says, "They are very dangerous, ma'am. We should probably, you both should probably go down. This is, there's no telling where you might get hurt."
I'm just trying to help.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here as a duly appointed union representative. You wouldn't want a union representative to be thwarted in her duties, would you?
Let's go ahead.
That's the most threatening I've ever made that voice sound.
Let's do a try to convince.
That is a 10 by a hair on my chinny chin chin.
Excellent. They do what you want. If you back them up, it helps them do it. They're like, all right, just please, rather than run ahead like that, let us protect you. If something happened to you, it would be, well, it'd be disastrous.
Disaster, my good men and women, is the default state of the universe.
Brins, I think you'll find that Zenobio's inner light protects her.
They give a look over to you, Poe, and there, for a moment, you could kind of see that blankness go across them. Then it comes back up. Of course, Father.
I mean, I've seen that on the average mortal, the blank look.
and I imagine somebody noticed my annoyed teenager face at that, like, oh.
Patrick, what are you doing?
Experiencing washes of strange new hungers. As I think I'm stuck sort of on this loop. Like I don't quite understand what's happened. I don't quite get the like switched bodies thing just yet, but I'm stuck on this idea of something like we have to touch them all, something that can transmit to everywhere here. And I just feel that there's a source here that can answer that question, as I think the horrible little gray baby thing dives at the dead executive board members there and starts chewing through for their cortical implants to get the memories of where something that's big enough to touch all of the robots here would be.
Ooh.
Well, I imagine I certainly hear that.
But yes, that's the memory that I'd like from them.
All right. Yeah, Zenobia, I think you probably can here on, at the third floor. Oh, yeah. You're running through.
An entirely unpleasant crunching sound.
We have the security detail of 3 or 4 that are with you, rushing down this hall through these 2 doors as you, Patrick, baby is there, ripping through them. Poe, you and Zenobia see it as coming into you. First off, you can you see them look back. This when as the security detail had come in to shoot them, this guy had looked back at the door, and in the doorway he sees himself and all the other board members standing in the doorway, and kind of looks back at the rest, the one sitting at the table, and looks back as that last shot hits him. But digging for that, there is a main broadcast in the factory, so that you can send in programming to everybody working if you got to change something, which is up at the top. It has a this is old style sci-fi, so it's got a dish that does this. But up on the top of the roof, But and so as you know, the rest of you two come rushing in, and you see baby doing this, and you get this memory up on these screens. There's a kind of flash, and so that they're no longer that star screen that was there. Instead, they're showing the factory, and you could see that in the factory, these robots are going through, and they're starting to break apart the machinery inside there.
Yeah,
want to do a quick
yeah.
Go ahead.
I think as they come in, like, there's very classic, like, ghoul vampire baby. It's there sort of on all fours, looks up at you, blood dripping from its face, and makes sort of a hissing scream, because why not? And I'd like to try and pursue my hunger right on out of here. Because there's something bigger that can touch more things up at that transmitter, and these little nothings shouldn't be in my way.
All right, roll it.
This is so weird.
I know. I feel like I played Cosmic Encounters and we just switched races.
So let's see. I have a ghoul of +1. Jesus, that's a 12.
Woo. All right, so you get to choose 3 of the 4.
Cross a distance or hurdle an obstacle in a mere moment. I shine too brightly to look at, and I seize control of someone or something, so I think maybe I pick up the poor intern again. As I go, like, heroically dashing and running, and I'm like, oh crap, tiny baby body. So he comes to get me, and we get the fuck out.
All right, so this kind of brightness shines around the body. Is it's almost like you call to that poor little servant. Which, when we first saw that guy that carries baby around, was when Space Wurm smacked him for calling him the wrong title. And so, I mean, this guy's had a rough day. He's sort of wrapped up in this light as he picks up baby, and he's almost looks shocked and all this, and this energy from baby sort of infuses him as he just moves at enormous speeds down the hall. Unless you think do you think that there's even like a light transference and you just disappear?
Yeah, I think we're just going.
All right, you see baby and him just.
I think also, like, just on my end, I open the door, I'm like, baby, and then that happens, and I'm like, no. Rude.
And so we have David's Asher heading up. We have baby Patrick just kind of appearing at the top of this. The two of you arriving about the same time. As up above the planet, hyperspace opens, and the great gilded yacht of Space Wurm arrives here at the planet, and all of a sudden, all of your information sources are working again.
Oh, excellent.
Now that they don't have to come through hyperspace. And you're immediately being hit with reports that the spice factory here is being disassembled and damaged.
Right. Well, we're heading right for there.
As you fly over towards it, the scanners ting, 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 tick, 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 and zoom in to where you see baby and Asher rushing up to the top to where that satellite beacon is. What do you do?
Well, I think I'm going to start by neutralizing the situation, as in slagging all the robots that are disassembling the factory.
Okay.
And I think this is a good time as any to I'll actually command my my corporate battalion to just be on standby and maintain a perimeter. And I'll also make sure all my camera drones are fully recording my munificent my multitudinous majesty here.
Mhm.
And so I will, the bottom bay doors will open, blinding light. And by the way, I envision my personal hyper yacht being like fashioned to look like an angel of mercy, just because.
Mm.
And my harness floats out. I'm there, and my ever shifting mass of ever evolving biological gook, and I just kind of like do this. I'm like almost like stretching out, cracking joints, and then all of a sudden you see the writhing stop, and then I just start filling out, and what once looked like just like a mass of evolving limbs and bodies and torsos shifts into a hardened, like mythical creature of terror. Basically, like anyone who sees it would just like all their their base primal, species memories of like the ancient reptilian predators just like goes full bore as I transform into the full iron scale great worm form. WYRM, thank you very much, not WRM, as I know you guys all hear behind my back. Don't think I don't hear you. Got ears everywhere. And now those ears are laser proof and on fire with the rest of me. And I just soar down and just start like slagging all the just melting all the robots with
All right.
biological flame, or maybe like a kind of like a biological, more of a biological a napalm sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay, so you guys up on the roof see this great worm come flying down. The crowds in the city kind of there's that mix of awe and absolute bowel loosening fear as this thing as you soar down and kind of open up where this factory is, and just down towards where these robots are disassembling thing, and all of the robots that are around begin clawing up, and so there's thousands of them rushing towards the factory as though to respond to this. And we're going to be taking our break here in just a second, but I think I'd like for us to do do something dangerous out of Space Worm before we do.
Okay, let's do this. So I'm rolling. Now my part didn't go down when I considered or studied earlier. No, I don't think it does.
Nope, because you were still in your place of power.
Yes.
So you've come to a new place now. You'll start spending if you.
Yeah. Although in my Great Worm form, I don't lower my power when I do dangerous, but I also can't use my power to command or convince. All I can do is destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, here we go. Let's roll this thing. Let's just see what happens. Ah, that's more like it. I generated an 11.
Oh, gosh, y'all are so good. I never get to hurt you.
Well, not physically.
As these things come rushing up, and they're trying to you're just casting them to the side, and this great gout of flaming, napalm wrapping up these, overcoming these robots as they're trying to tear down the thing, the factory, and you'll be taking a +1 forward to your next roll. I think I'm gonna stop on that image, and we'll come back, because I think I'm gonna have Asher and Baby do their thing right after this, and then we'll see what happens with our other two. So let's take 5 minutes. We'll come back at 15 till, and see y'all shortly.
Cool.
This is cool. I love Poe. There's something so neat and strange about. I'm sorry, Richard. I've spent all of my life in the restaurant business, so I have that knack of being able to ask someone something when they're starting to eat.
But you don't even know I'm eating. It's amazing. No. The brief period I worked in the restaurant business before I realized I was way too slow to work in the restaurant business, I still developed that knack.
I love this character though. He's so interesting. I want to give a chance for you to hit some highlights here. I haven't been giving you enough, so I'm going to keep trying to get good flags in there for you. And Michael, I kind of felt like it's been a shame because Space Worm, is kind of off doing his stuff. I'm glad to have us get him in here. And what a hell of an arrival.
Yeah, that's fine because it's taken me this long to kind of wrap my head around how, even what his motivation is. Because I started with this kind of like grand idea about, the diversity and it's like diversity of life form and the vaccine. But it was hard for me to kind of understand what that means for a character, and two, tied into the Space Worm as the archetype of this, power hungry uber dictator. Secondly, it's been fun watching everyone else play around with the situation. And thirdly, one thing I've observed about this game, and I think it may be just an inherent weakness of the setup rather than anything that any of us are doing wrong. Space Worm is definitely strikes me as being very much a behind the scenes, like, puller of strings. And I think I suspect that might be really like interesting in a long-term campaign setting. In a one shot where everything's compressed and everyone needs to like get on the scene and act quickly, that's a potential stumbling block if you're playing the Space Worm character to not think like a puller of strings necessarily.
Yeah, I can see that. And I suppose I need to make sure to give you chances to interject with stuff like using your help and interfere stuff, and keeping that sort of thing where you're always just there able to manipulate something.
Yeah, I almost feel like you're playing an empire more than a specific entity, but yeah, this has been really fun, and I'm just glad to be trying the system out.
I think it's cool. Yeah. All right.
I find it awesome that the two of us are opposite one another again with gigantic, over-the-top personalities.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I guess when was the last time that happened? Was it at just
Worldwide Wrestling during Gauntlet-Con?
Oh, that's right. Well, it would have been. I think it was right before because I wasn't part of Gauntlet-Con, but that's right. I remember. That's right. I was the millennial, and you were. Who are you running again?
I was playing the indie darling.
Okay, that's right.
That's right. Oh, those were good sessions.
Me Hazard.
All righty. So we're gonna, we've got Space Worm over there doing his thing. We're a fire, and as we have David's Asher running up, pretty much just jumping up through the ceiling to reach the top. The tower is there. You could see Space Worm off to the side. I'm going to give you that first initiative of getting to the tower. What would you like to do?
That's to me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll see Baby arrive as I'm in the Asher form. And like I'll see him as he would have seen me, as the baby from Dirty Dancing, and like speaking to him in like or speaking to it in a like cosmically deep voice that Asher normally doesn't have. I'll be like, so this is what you've been seeing. This is what's been driving you to help. Well, isn't that interesting? And then I'll open up I'll kind of wave my arms and open this like almost like void space and start to haul this big piece of equipment through. Something that he didn't even know that he had access to.
Awesome.
Um,
Go ahead.
So basically, like, I would be trying to use the move off of the Ghost playbook, the Spirit of Science move.
Okay.
So with that one, it's sort of focused around like what you want to achieve. So you sort of name what this thing is going to do for you, and it'll almost certainly do it.
Right. So this is just like a cosmically large signal booster that I could hook up to the satellite dish, and if it worked right, it would transmit this a long, long ways. I don't know how far, but a long, long ways.
Excellent. All right, roll it up. Using
All right.
mind.
What's your mind stat?
It is +1.
Sweet. 11.
Dang y'all.
So on a 7+, it saves the day, and you remain unharmed, and it doesn't break.
Nice.
So you begin tying this thing in here to do the signal boost. And, with these kind of newer senses that Asher has, you can sense that there is some signal that has been coming in through hyperspace to it. And with your senses, you can draw it back into hyperspace where you sense this enormous intelligence, this vast, massive matrix of thousands of interconnected minds making one huge intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And as you put the booster in, what is the signal you're going to try and send out? Is it to like do a reset, or are you shutting down?
No, it's going to be for baby to consume. And so that's the thing, though, is either Patrick, you have to do this, or you have to switch back, which you have the option of doing. But it's up to you. I don't have control of it. And I'll tell you that, like, in that like monolithically deep voice, I'll just be like, this is the way to consume all of it. And you could probably see it in the way that you were describing with that electrical pulsing. Mm-hmm. You can see it in the sky now that the signal booster's hooked up to it.
And I think I'll come forward, and it's like I think I'm starting to get that instinctual thing, and it's like the Jennifer Grey baby comes forward, and she looks down at herself, and she looks up at you, and she says, "What are you?"
And like, being one of the few things that I can touch, I can just reach out and just put a finger to your lips. Like, you don't have to do this. You can revert and let me finish the job.
And I think, like, as you reach out and touch her, like, that's when the actual baby gets up to the equipment. We're all sort of there in the middle of this like transmitter, and I think as you touch the baby lips, whatever, that's the moment when like all of this energy pours out.
Gray baby.
The two of us switch back, and I think this transmitter just like uploads both of us into hyperspace.
Oh, okay. We'll take a moment of that as the two of you, as we have that second down in the stairwell, Poe and Zenobia. These guards that are with you, you see them react. Ma'am, he's come. The abomination has arrived. He will destroy everything here. You must come with us.
Space Worm?
Yes. He is an abomination, a horror.
I put my hands on their shoulder and I say, that's Space Worm at the top of their game. You will die.
Hey, their eyes sort of widen. No, you must come with us. And Poe, you see they are all coming. They're grabbing to try and grab Zenobia.
I'm going to stand in defense of Zenobia again to just try to beat them off.
Well,
and I think
yes,
I think Poe extends a fan, just a very beautifully painted fan, and sort of stands and sort of places it out aggressively between the ones that he can get in front of. But I mean, I can't keep them all off Zenobia, but
okay. Let's roll vision for that.
That is a 9.
All right. You redirect the attack to you. You redirect their focus onto you for that moment. But as they Zenobia, you see, Poe has interspersed stuff. These things are not willing to stop for Poe, and they reach and grab him and push him to the side, and you can hear Poe, you kind of smack up against the side there, and kind of the breath a little kicked out of you, one of them pulls Poe to, "We'll take him as well. Madam, you must come down."
I'm assuming that the room I'm in has a giant conference room table or something.
I had you on the stairs, but sure, you could be up top. I don't mind that. So,
I thought we gotten all the way to the conference room.
You can be, we can. Yeah, we've got to that third area, so you could have that open up.
Yeah. In front of you. There's a giant conference room table, and there's a big old window and things like that, right?
Yep.
Okay, since I'm assuming that I can do this because there's no limitation on the character sheet, I'm gonna say, later, I'm gonna turn around and just completely anime it up. I'm gonna kick the giant conference room table out the window, jump after it, and use it to jump onto the roof.
Fantastic.
In a way that completely defies any sort of sense in physics.
I think let's take a stand. That seems like taking a stand.
All right.
So you'll lower and choose an option there.
Yep. I am going to... I can lower it. Okay. Yeah. I want to draw the attention, once I get up there, of Space Wurm and the Great Matrix.
All righty. Out this window, and the guards there with you, Poe, go, "No!" They kind of release you and go rushing behind, no, rushing as just shining up. Moonicorn arrives there, and Space Wurm, you definitely see this figure as she jumps out there, turning back, and up on the broadcast bit, you guys, as the touch, turning it on, starting to feel, you could sense that extra dimensional power sort of focus in towards Moonicorn, focus in towards Zenobia, and kind of loosen that hold over, all these robots here. It's just focused so much on her. As you hit the booster, I think, let's see, we didn't trade back, did you, Patrick?
Here, yeah, that's what I was doing. If you want me to make a roll, I can do a final pursue your hunger.
Yes.
And then it would be, assuming we make it into hyperspace, the start of a new scene, and yes, I would trade back at that point. But that's ghoul.
You have +1 on ghoul.
That's an 8.
Choose
So
2.
I get to choose 2. Cross a distance or hurdle an obstacle in a mere moment, and seize control of someone or something, which would be Asher, baby Asher, whoever it is. But yes, we're crossing that boundary, the both of us, but not choosing the one where I don't take harm.
All right.
You fool.
And then we switch back.
All right. The switch occurs as, okay, we have, I want to find out from you, Poe, as you see this happen and they run to the windows, what do you do?
I've immediately begun looking around for actual dosage of spice.
You can see that it's one of the things that there are. They have the vials that are, this is the place that makes it. So, it's something that's easy access and free for these executives. And you could see it there with since we're high tech, I like a hypo, one of those, pressure hypos to put it in you.
Or one of those like twist off inhalants.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that could even be good. Yeah.
It would all be served on an elegance, kind of like an elegance appetizer platter.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm gathering up all the spice I can look for. Zenobia, did you say anything to me about that the consciousness transferring through space or anything like that?
I think I was largely not aware of it, but
Okay.
I know that
Okay,
there's
so
some
there's-
great presence unifying these machines.
That's
so.
true. We know something is there communicating in some way, and that the way humans communicate or reach out to each other is through spice. And Space Worm is here. And here's my hope that if I can be a conduit, that our two great, vast, shared intelligences can reach out to each other. So I'm gathering up all the spice that I can find.
Oh, excellent. All right. And you're going to, and this was to try and contact with Space Worm.
I want to be in contact with all humans on the planet.
Oh, lovely.
The way that these machines are in contact with each other, with everything on the planet.
All right. And so you pop and inhale this cloud. I think this seems like you're doing something dangerous at the very least to start with.
At the very, very least. Actually, before I do this, I'd like to seek divine guidance.
Ooh, nice. Who are you choosing to ask?
And as I sort of reach out and inhale this cloud, I reach out like to Moonicorn and I say, what is the best way to protect you? Or what is the best way to further your work?
Oh, you're not protecting me for once. The same, dear Eamon. The best way to further my work is to share your beauty with the cosmos.
We seem to be short on photographers.
Your spiritual beauty, fool. You have something that I can never have, that the Space Worm can never have, that this machine intelligence can never have. Share that light, Eamon.
All right, so I am going to do something dangerous.
Yep, let's see how all that spice affects you.
So for faith, it's to prove or spread my faith, and for vision, it's in order to save myself. So I'm not really sure it fits into either of those.
Faith.
Yeah, I almost think that, yeah, you're doing this to promote your faith. So
All right. That is a flat 8.
all right. Cool. You inhale this, and you do feel it, the empathy, the openness of it, the all across this planet, this this city, this planet, you can feel the people, you can feel their loves and their hates, and everything seems a part of you. You could feel it like worming into you, kind of, it's hard to disconnect yourself from them all, sort of thing. Where are you? Who are you as part of them, sort of thing. So I'm going to, we've got that consequence that's going to come up. What are you going to do? What do you say, or do you spread your light? What would you like to do?
I tell them to join with the machines, to defy the abomination.
Oh, goodness. Whoo. All right. Let's roll real. I'm going to cut. I'll have you roll your convince after we make that cut. I'm going to have Baby and Asher. You are caught up in this signal as it's, you begin. I think you're going to try and devour it, aren't you, Baby? And we're back to real Baby now.
Yeah, that was the plan the entire time.
All right. Woo. You are caught up in this energy. Pursue your hunger, I suppose.
All right.
And I'd like to interfere with that as I say, look, baby, here, the signal, it comes from here. We're connected to all of them. We could free all of your kind because I think you care.
Well, I have my results. Should I announce them, or should you roll interfere? Because it could go bad for you either way.
Let's see.
Does interfere like shift a like a level, like miss, hit to miss, and
no, it'll give a -2 to him.
It's -2, but on a 6-, you only cause trouble for yourself. So.
But yeah, and it's plus bonds, so I got an 11.
Nice.
Oh shit!
So -2 to your roll, David.
Sorry about you. I still got a 7 and 9.
All right, choosing 2. There is, I should say, potential harm in this.
Yeah, you seize control of someone or something, and you resist one source of harm, the matrix thing that's out there for both answers.
Okay.
You're not gonna like what I'm gonna do to you.
The two of you, this energy is sort of flowing through you as you start digesting that signal, and the two of you kind of are drawn in this light, following up, lifted up, but we see that sort of wiggle of where hyperspace is being torn open. Because you've devoured it, the signal has stopped going to the robots, who are kind of yeah, they no longer have that sort of programming going on, and they're acting really very confused. They don't know what the hell's happened. So they've, the ones that haven't been melted, the ones that were trying to climb up and were leaping up at Space Worm, are now sort of confused as we see the two of Asher and Baby kind of sliding into that warp opening, as this energy is drawing you in. Space Worm, these things, have been attempting to climb up and to stop you, but you also, at about this moment, there were human security forces that had been moving around. They begin firing at you.
But they can't hurt me.
They can't hurt you.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, you're impervious to harm,
right? so there's the portal, and people are heading into the portal. Do I sense that the Great Matrix is behind it? Is that even a correct thing?
You don't. Yeah, you've never, other than that little watching you one time, you don't really know much about the Great Matrix.
That's right. I'm going in blind to this. Do I know where Baby is?
You saw Baby and Asher there as they were lifted up, and you could see them going through this hyper rift.
Well, I'm following them.
Taking to the wing and moving away as pew, 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 they're shooting at you, but it does not to you. So it's not even do something dangerous at you. So you flying straight across. Moonicorn, you see Space Worm chasing after the two of them. You see this hyperspace rift in there. What are you doing?
Too many conflicting concerns. Space Worm is just chowing down on bots.
Well, now, had been blasting them away, but now has turned and is chasing towards that hyper rift.
I'm also going to order my hyper yacht to follow me.
All right.
I shout, well, I still do have your attention. So I say, Executor, no, don't follow it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I did see you glowing up there. I will I'll pause and I'll fly over to Zenobia.
And I think at this point I want to try to guide Asher home. I just plug my guitar into the into the system and I start playing. I couldn't find the song, which is why I was a little bit delayed in responding. But it's definitely, I'm imagining it's like one of those serious guitar riffs from one of the climaxes in FLCL. I don't know why. Freaking space magical girl with a guitar. Well, no, I know exactly now why. And she's gonna try to guide Asher back and close the window to hyperspace. Use her basically innate distortion to close that gate. Now that Space Worm is staying here.
Okay. And so trying to pull Asher back, but Baby's still flying right on in, right?
Oh, those two deserve each other.
All right. That's I see you able to do it. I think what we could do is,
I mean, I could just burn an integrity and get his attention. That's more what it is.
It could be, or we could have Asher try to come back, and you're there to provide the "I believe in you."
Yes.
Want to do that?
I like it.
All right. You can feel then, Asher, this pull that can bring you back.
Well, I'll say what I was gonna do is as Baby is like starting to try and consume the hyperspace stuff. Like, I think that hurts me. So I was gonna try and pull out my third device and try and merge with Baby, basically, to a possession on Baby, because I think Baby's like intake and connection to all of this energy could actually be the boost I need to send out the signal I want to. But obviously, Baby's not going to work with me.
All right. That's got to be do something dangerous, doesn't it?
Well, it would be my last Spirit of Science equipment.
Oh, yes. Okay.
As I think I'll pull out like a glowing disc and press it to Baby's forehead.
Okay.
Yeah, so Baby in the meantime has just like every panel has opened up on the creepy little baby doll, exposing robot underneath that's sucking in this signal and technology and everything. So I think it's just kind of inherently interfering with what you're trying to do.
That makes sense.
Yep. So roll that interfere if you'd like.
Plus bond.
Yep.
We got one bond, or is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So you only cause trouble for yourself.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. As Asher, you reach over and you put this onto Baby.
I got an 8,
Okay.
so it will work, but it's going to destroy the item and burn it out while we do this.
All right. So this massive amount of energy that's flowing in, and you put this on, so it's supercharging it. You feel the pull back as you've kind of latched on to Baby. Baby, as you're bringing in this energy, you can feel something on the other side of this that you're feeding from and that you're pulling from, resisting, and you cannot. You cannot. You are one of us. You are one of me. Asher, well, no, let's go Poe. Poe, you've come up and you've, at the window, and you've opened up and had these people. They're fighting, shooting at Space Wurm. This planet is now kind of in full revolt, at least in their minds. What are you doing?
And I think I want to project out to them, take over the factory. Take the spice into your own hands.
Wow. All right, let's do a try to convince.
So I re-rolled it, and I rolled it and it was a 7.
You can feel them. Yes?
I was just wondering, is that something I could interfere with? Was I even aware of that process? Or
Absolutely. Yes, if you wish to.
Yeah, I know Space Worm's kind of like flying around in all kinds of directions. He's heading for a portal. He's looking at Moonicorn, but as soon as he senses that the Holy One over there is trying to basically freeware my precious vaccine, I'm not. That's definitely not gonna.
All right. Well, then, since you're interfering, and he is currency, you will just automatically give a -2. How does that put you at, Rich?
It puts me at a 5.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Well, in that case, let's see. And try and you feel these people as you're putting this out, and they're so terrified of Space Wurm, and him being here present, and just him being on the planet even makes the zeitgeist of the whole planet feel his presence, and you could just sense their fear is too great. Their fear of him is too much. It would take you somehow striking a blow, giving them some bravery. As I think the consequence is pretty obvious as Space Worm looks over at you with, I'm guessing, a baleful glare. What does it look like when Space Worm shows his displeasure?
Yeah, I'm thinking Eye of Sauron right now, just like radiating spite right now, because so he flies over, and he just actually doesn't even fly over. He just booms out at Poe. That's that's I'm starting to feel like I'm about to enact like an intergalactic epic version of the piracy of stuff thing you see in front of movies nowadays. But he says he just basically exclaims that that multiplicity will not be had for free. It's not just to be given away. That's what he says. Yeah.
All right. So the two of you kind of facing off at each other. Moonicorn, you're seeing this. You're feeling Asher being drawn. You know, you've given this call to Asher. The music is rising. Asher, are you going to try and come back?
So I think I've got, first of all, it's this weird, we're combined, we're possessing each other sort of thing. I've got this ghoul sucking down this connection to the hyperspace. I've got this connection to Zenobia, who is playing and connecting out to everyone around.
So is Poe.
And I think this is my opportunity to try and like spread the counter virus to the shackling through any of the AIs or anything that might be on this planet or connected in and listening.
I may be sending my song everywhere, but you know I'm playing it for you.
Oh. But I don't know. I feel like being in the center of this ghoul star creature going crazy, it's probably wearing away, hurting, eating me too.
Yes.
I have a thought on that, and
Go for it.
I'll probably just retire Baby after this moment based on like the roles we just had.
Oh, I wanted to trap you in hyperspace.
But I think that like there's the crazy, like, in reality, merging of this strange being that you are, this ghost thing, and this creepy robotic baby doll that has like every panel on it opened, sucking in this signal. And then like you get brought in there and you just insert this disc or whatever as you're being merged with it. And then you're just like instantaneously in whatever your human form was, just in a room. And
Nice.
You see the Jennifer Grey. And
I mean, I think we all know exactly what Asher looked like in life.
Oh.
Definitely Patrick Swayze.
And then it's just Jennifer Grey in that pinky white dress, and she just says, "I had the time of my life." And then you get like, in reality, you just get blasted off, and Baby gets blasted off like into space, never to be seen again, or at least not for another millennia.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Oh my god. Yes, all of that 1,000 times. Repeat on slow-mo. It's amazing.
All right. So, Baby, to those of you that are not caught up in this, we see Baby sort of go a bit inert as the hyperspace collapses behind it.
I won't do it. Oh well.
Huh?
I was trying to get my phone to glare like a
Oh.
lighter.
As Asher, you are feeling kind of yourself drawn to it too. You have this influx of power. Now that baby is gone, this influx of power is kind of just hitting you, but you can sense that, it comes from that same space where you were made, where you come from, and you have gotten this little bit of insight now, this what was there sending you back, that there can be freedom for the AIs. If you use this hyperdimensional power, but you're being drawn into it and you're not sure you can survive that, I think it's either a do something dangerous or a suffer harm.
I think the outcomes for suffer harm are more appropriate.
All right.
I think as baby gets sucked away and I'm getting sucked in, but we're connected to this signal that's going out and trying to spread itself everywhere from hyperspace, apparently. And so just everywhere it touches out, it should carry that code with it, that antivirus with it.
All right, roll. And this would be, if Moonicorn wants to give that help, this might be a key moment for, depending on how you roll.
We'll see.
Space. Actually get to roll space for once. Yay! It's a 5, 6, 7.
All right. Yep.
Let's see. So on a 7+, you become insubstantial instead of suffering harm. But on a 7 to 9, some other complication comes to your attention.
All right. Yes.
I think I will.
Okay.
You're trying to break free of this thing, right? Or no, you're trying to use it.
I'm trying to use this signal to free AIs, free the robot peoples, make them real. Oh my god, that's sort of amazing.
Yeah, that almost might be worth it, keeping the complication, River, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I think that's
just to have Jennifer Grey's baby haunting me forever.
I love it. Okay, so
Haunting like a ghost?
Oh my. So you know, Space Ghost, you're going to kind of diffuse. I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Poe, you and Space Wurm are faced off against each other now. He's turned to you. They've turned to you and said this, that's not meant for giving away for free. What do you say?
In my heart, I call out to the heavens. While never breaking my lock on the gaze with the dragon, or my gaze locked on the dragon's face, and I call out to the heavens. And I ask, what can I show him to melt his cold, cold heart? And I want Space Wurm to answer.
Oh, okay.
Well, oh, that's lovely.
Oh, so this is you're doing the divine.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Although technically a conflict of interest, but all right.
You'd be the one to know.
Yeah. Well, so first thing you notice is the chariot harness coming in, and you see the multitudinous one start contracting. The wings come in, and his flesh devolves from its iron scaled form. You see him bubbling, and he eventually goes back to his multitude of writhing, continuously evolving entities within one entity thing going on. And he comes to rest on the harness, and he comes the harness his chair he floats to the point where you're like at eye level, or at least with one set of my eyes. And let's see, I've been reading over your notes about what your fate's all about here. And what he wants is, I think what would, again, he doesn't know anything about the Great Matrix still, even now, because he's been too busy with other stuff. So one thing is,
and just to clarify, the question is, what can I show him to melt his heart?
Right, and not even in a pretend way, but in an earnest, for real way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. What does melt my heart? What does melt my heart? Well, if he could, here's what it is. If he back into his original motivation for inventing the universal vaccine, that being exploration and the safety of being able to explore different worlds without without dying of every disease that comes your way. Because I envisioned that was originally what motivated him, and how he got caught up in this whole, evolution as a way of life craziness. So if you can appeal to that sense of exploration and adventure, that might be the way to get to what remains of his cold dead heart.
So I think I'm going to start drawing in as much light as I can harness to craft a vision. I don't know if you want me to do that now, or you want to move on to.
No, I'd like to have you do yours. Yeah, let's do you.
Yeah,
right
So I think I draw in the light, and then there's a moment of just kind of shadowiness. And then the factory sort of fills with light, and then it sort of radiates out, and starts to like little beams of light start radiating to all the people who are near the factory or around the factory, and all the robots who are eating around the factory. And then they sort of become like deflecting prisms and shine like rainbow lights up into the sky in various directions. As the light of spice and the light of ecstatic connection starts to light the way to the universe beyond this Shalom, and carry the people of Shalom up into the universe.
So just like opening up a new way to travel, just the light projection,
I think it's just more like, their souls are, by giving them spice freely for whoever, it opens their souls to the whole wider universe. And nothing is beyond us.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that's.
And then I extend my hand very gently to him, and then point to the factory with my other hand and say, "Come here, lover boy."
Oh boy.
Oh, how do you call your lover boy?
Oh, you might have. I think he had him, but I'm wondering what this the lover boy thing. I'm wondering if that throws off the Wurm of space or not. But however, he is. I mean, you've made a very compelling vision.
I think I need to roll for it before we determine how compelling it is.
Okay. Oh,
how successful
it is.
Thing.
Okay.
So let's try.
That's right. This is an actual move of yours.
Yeah.
A bare 7.
So bending your light. That was what we were doing, right?
Yep. The dice do not like me tonight.
You feel yourself becoming that light as well. We'd had where you were connected with all of these people. You feel yourself still diffused in that little bit of light you've put in each of them. And as it's shining out into the universe, you could feel it touching everyone. This light is all part of you, and you are part of all of it. And Space Worm, you just see Poe as this just being of light, the universe personified here, all the people.
Yeah, I kind of see this almost like a cutting of the Gordian knot, whereas the vaccine was invented to protect the physical body in exploration. He's kind of cut that knot and said, well, let's just explore astrally or through the powers of our mind. And thought is nothing if not ever evolving, right? So, yeah, I'm kind of seeing the strange and yet terrifying and yet perfectly sensible the knowledge of, or wisdom behind what he's presenting here.
Do we? I'm going to, because we're running towards
Sure.
the end, so I think I'm going to just ask to end this little moment. Do you reach out and touch Poe's hand? Do you take Poe's hand?
Yes, and basically you see like a dozen of my arms just reaching for him and finally merging into one.
All right.
To take him up on his vision thing.
Moonicorn, this is going on around you, and this light streaming, and across the universe you can hear people lifted up, and your song is carrying everything, just everything around you reverberates with it. What are you doing?
I say to Space Wurm, now that you've seen it, will you share the light?
Is that truly what you'd have me do, Zenobia?
It is not what I want. It is what Eamon wants. I can't see what he has shown you, but I know he wants people to be free. And I want you to open your hand. Stop clenching on to this galaxy. Don't you want to see the galaxy again?
Perhaps there's no need to grip a galaxy when there's a universe to behold and roam through. Perhaps.
Let's end on the perhaps, and I think we're going to epilogue out. So, let's start with you, Asher. An epilogue, a last scene that we see of Asher. It can be here at this or any time forward.
I think this is some indeterminate time in the future. Asher is back together, as solid as they've ever been. But I think it's a very high-tech space vault sort of scene, super high security things as he's sort of just passing through security systems, walking through walls, and working his way in. And I think there next to him in a sort of constant running conversation back and forth is Baby, just really chiding him, making fun of the way he's missing things or doing things wrong. And I think as he gets to the heart of the vault and there's this glowing technology star sort of thing, it comes down to an argument across the glow of this thing, them facing each other one-on-one, with Baby just saying, well, you gonna eat it or not?
Oh, lovely. Well, I think next we should probably go to Baby.
Oh, man. So this whole, how everything's wrapped up has me in a very, sci-fi-y, really high sci-fi-y mood. And I think, the next instant the audience sees Baby, at some point after some of the credits have rolled, it's just a whole bunch of these creepy gray baby things floating in a big old space, almost like the great Pacific garbage island, all the babies floating there, and it's like people will question: is this a question? Is this a critique of like abortion? Is this something to do with that? Like that's what's going on in the audience's mind. But it's just like all these gray infant creepy doll things, and they all just instantaneously like say the same things, and they're all trying to ask each other a question, and then immediately all give each other the same answer, but it's just pointless.
Oh, I love it. All right, Poe. What is our last scene of Poe?
I think as soon as Space Worm took Poe's hand, Poe just breathed in, since that is the one final touch, the one final ecstasy Poe wanted to receive in this life. And Poe just lets go and becomes light, hovering around the planet. But at that same moment, he whispers in Zenobia's ear, "It's amazing, the love. You take it with you."
Oh.
One last Swayze quote.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful. Space Worm, because Moonicorn gets final scene in this game. Space Worm, your epilogue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think basically I just see he starts basically Space Worm starts giving away the universal vaccine, and I think the intergalactic economy collapses.
Oh, that's wonderful. So we just see how everything has started to crumble now that it's being given away for free. Oh,
I'm not sure how it happens, but it happens.
Oh, that's sort of fascinating. That's lovely. And so, Moonicorn, our last scene from you, Zenobia.
Jeez, I don't know how to respond to that. I think
Bless you.
I think we see you know what makes me think that the things have collapsed is ecstasy. Like that other people can get it whenever they want. Some people are deciding that they can explore with it, and some people just want to explore the inner reaches. So all those control systems are sort of falling away. And I'm just sort of imagining Zenobia playing to the cosmos, sort of setting the galactic tempo. We like see her as an old woman with like starlight colored hair, playing on like a steel guitar, like laid down on her lap.
Beautiful. Light motes and such going by you.
There's like completely zero G, and like it's like black and white and drifting off, and like individual strands look like stars suspended in the night sky.
Beautiful. Wow. And that is our game of Space Worm versus Moonicorn, which I don't know how other people play it, but I had a hell of a good time playing it the way we did.
Oh my god, that was amazing!
Oh my god, no! For a two shot, like, oh my god, like it got so like David Lynch, Stanley Kubrick, like so good.
If we feel we've got about 15 minutes, I'd love to do a Roses and Thorns for it if folks have time. just to kind of see what we thought of both the system. Roses and Thorns, we'll go through first with Thorns, kind of giving, you know, some things that you would have liked to have seen different, some thoughts on the system that maybe didn't work, or, you know, things that I might have done differently or better. And please feel free to tell me, because, you know, I plan to run it again. So knowing some things that didn't work will certainly help me out. I'll start off with Thorns in that. Oh, I'm sorry. Patrick has asked if we could maybe take a quick bio break. And so why don't we do that? Let's take a little 3-minute break and pop back and do Roses and Thorns.
All right.
All right.
Sure. Okay.
Boy, howdy, that was fun.
That really was.
Y'all are so awesome, and this game is really neat. There's some really cool aspects to this. I really enjoyed this. But let me start with some Thorns. I don't have much for the system itself, because I really like this. Quick play is such a nice addition. But I'll say for me, when you lay out fronts at the beginning of the game, and we're going to take some away, and we're going to have some that we know are going to be the ones we're kind of actively working in, and some are space worms. It was a bit of a challenge for me to get that quickly into my head, as well as find, you know, which one of the 3 fronts I was going to have our first obstacle on, then choose what that obstacle was. Johnstone does a nice job of putting a lot of options in, but, you know, you kind of, when you hear all 3 that it could be, you want to kind of have them tie together. And I might could have done that better. I'm hoping that familiarity will change that, but I felt the strain that first one. This time around, it was a lot easier. Not, you know, not that I had it in my head. Other than that, for Thorns, like I said, I don't have many for the system. I always feel like I talk too much, but hopefully I didn't do that obnoxiously. Let's start over with Moonicorn. With you, River, why don't you give your Thorns and we'll go down.
I think the only thing that really was weird to me is I felt like I was operating at a completely different scale than everybody else. It's like, huh, what? Oh, cosmic stuff. Okay.
I think you certainly provided a good inspiration all the way through. It was a good Moonicorn.
Oh, thanks. A bunch of times people are like, "Are you going to help now? Are you going to help now?" And a lot of times I said, "No, this seems to be what people want." So that was sort of that's the answer to the questions that I saw scrolling by. That's neither a rose nor a thorn.
Cool. Rich, thorns?
My only thorn was for, it did. My only thorn was for me. I'd worked up right up to like 10 minutes before the game, so it took me about 45 minutes to really get my head in. So I that was, and once you're aware your head's not there, it's hard to
Well, you sure seemed into it to me.
Yeah. No, I was into watching you guys. It was really hard to kind of get into my head into the character. So, so I appreciate you bearing with me. So,
cool. Patrick, thorn. So,
yeah, it's sort of a thorn, but just all the different fronts, the sort of massiveness of the storyline, to cram it down into like digestible motivations and sort of goals for just this 2-shot was really challenging. Like, it's a big game. So I definitely had problems with that the first session. For this session, I basically just chose my motivating goal and ran forward with it. And I like that the people were willing to bend things around and go with that. But yeah, I feel like that was sort of a thorn for me, of like, there were so many things going on out there. I was just like, I'm just going to focus on this one and do it.
like maybe that, that in 2 sessions, it's just too much to get in, or.
Yeah, just there's such a big universe to get in your head for 2 sessions. And I definitely felt it this time, but it was a struggle getting into it.
Do you think it would have, I should have been more simple in like fronts or in setting up these different things?
I have a hard time saying that because, like, I love where it ended.
Okay.
It was more just like I felt myself struggling with getting everything down.
It was a lot. Cool. Michael, thorns?
Yeah, I had a similar reaction to Patrick on that. There was a lot to track. It was a challenge for me to keep up with what was going on and figure out what the mystery was with the Great Matrix. And I also had trouble just figuring, like I had mentioned before, it was a challenge to figure out exactly what Space Worm's motivation was. But that's really just all a function of just how much is going on, which I think is a plus. I'd rather have a messy a system or a game setup that's messy but is chock full of cool ideas than the other way around. And I actually even now I'm looking over the rules, and I also feel like maybe there may have been maybe too much going on for at least a quick play scenario. And I wonder if if I ever ran a quick play of this game, I might actually limit it. I'd think about limiting it only to 3 players, because another thing that I guess I'd consider as thorn is I feel like we didn't really play up the Space Worm versus Moonicorn thing, which is, I mean, it was still a great game, but given that this is Space Worm versus Moonicorn, I don't know if there's enough in the way the playbooks are set up where automatically you're definitely going to get like intense Space Worm and Moonicorn action going on in one way or another. It's just something that you have to keep in mind, and when you've got so many things to keep track of, it's easy for even something as central to the game as the rivalry to get lost. But I wonder if you did a quick play where it was like Space Worm, Moonicorn, and one other character, and then Space Worm and Moonicorn just kind of vie for the character, for influence over the character and the front that character represents. I wonder if a one shot would be a lot easier to manage. Of course, you might lose a lot of the the delicious complexity we had in this system in this session. I think if you had Space Worm and the Moonicorn and the Lover, I think that'd be a delightful like an intergalactic 3-way love triangle sort of thing. But those are those are only things I could think of as thorns. But not even so much thorns. It's just
I see that. I see what you're saying, and again, it did seem a little like time was limited even for a quick play. David, Thorns.
I think that we played the system, but I don't think that we actually played like Space Worm versus Moonicorn, like he was just saying. Like, I think we played something else, which the system supported, and was like amazing. And I'm probably happier to play that game than Space Worm versus Moonicorn. But I don't know that we actually played Space Worm versus Moonicorn, which is, I guess, my thorn. That and the fact that like there are moves, like I performed one move that was very like transgressive to another player. If I didn't know Patrick, I wouldn't have done it. So that life transference move is like not for new players.
Yeah, I could definitely see where you're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I totally loved where that went. I was cool with it, just to be completely clear there.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I thought that I was reading you right, but it was one of those things that was like, I hope this is cool.
Yeah, because even if it has a limited, sort of duration, it does really grab agency away from somebody.
Yeah.
But I definitely see that. Any others? Nope.
That's it for me on the Thorns front.
Cool. I'll do roses last, so I think I'll start with Moonicorn. Roses and moonbeams out of Moonicorn. River?
Can I go second to last?
Certainly. Rich?
It took me a while to catch back up to the Asher baby plot, but much like many episodes of Battlestar Galactica where I wasn't exactly sure what was going on, I was loving the drama as it went there. It was a blast to watch play out. So thank you guys.
That's a good rose. That was an excellent thing. Patrick, roses?
Everything was so fucking cool all the time. It was amazing. I loved it. Oh my god. It was I loved everybody's characters. Eamon Poe was so out there and weird and amazing. And when you put up that picture this session, I was just like, yep, that's him. That crazy ass thing is him. And David, like, that whole choice with baby and switching things, it was amazing. I had no fucking idea where it was going. It totally threw me for a loop, and I was just like feeling my way through parts of it, but it was so good, and every time it came back to you, you just like upped it another level, and it kept getting weirder and more amazing. And yeah, this episode in particular may not have exactly been the Space Wormiest versus Moonicorniest thing ever, but I definitely think it would be like in a larger campaign, it would be one of those big dramatic episodes in the middle of things, and then we'd get back to like the main plot of Space Worm and Moonicorn. But I enjoyed indulging in the weirdness that was going on here.
Excellent, thank you. And Michael, roses?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll give rose to you for managing all this chaos and pulling it off. I mean, we had a lot of characters going off in all kinds of different directions, and just this real system. I mean, I'm just, I've had the book for a couple weeks, and I haven't finished it, but it's just so there's just so much going on. It's just such a, it's just chock full of cool plot nuggets. So yeah, I think it's awesome that you and you're carrying on. I saw you post for the next batch of Space Worm and Moonicorn stuff. So that's excellent. So I definitely dug that, and I am, everyone. I appreciate. I enjoyed listening to everyone game. I will say one thing I do want to highlight is with Richard at the very end when you are trying to rally the, the people to partake freely of the to like seize the space, as it were. And I got a sense that we're close to the close, and I got a sense that maybe this is you trying to like put the bow tie on your plot line, and I kind of just shut it down. One, because I couldn't, I couldn't see Space Worm really doing anything else once his main product is being threatened. Secondly, I really like the cool bond mechanic that Space Worm playbook had, where everyone's either currency or treasure, and you just automatically get bonuses to aid or interfere with depending on that. I had to like put that into play, especially since I saw that you were on the verge of a failure. As opposed, if it would have taken down to a partial success, I probably would have just let it ride. But I think it was just too delicious to resist.
Well.
Yeah, and then you put off the really inspired move of like calling for divine guidance at that point, which I thought was a great rejoinder, and then coming up with the vision that I don't know if you intended for that to play into what Space Worm was all about at that point, but it did. I found a way to meet you halfway and come up with a really cool ending for. And it really was a nice bookend, because even in the beginning, we'd established that I had invited you to my party, knowing that you were against everything that Space Worm held for, just because he thought, it was like kind of like refreshing, like you were almost like you were a stage performer I hired to perform at my party, and now look where we ended up. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, David. Roses.
I have been vigorously nodding along to everyone's roses up to this point. There's so many good things happening here. To articulate my rose, oh man, this story was amazing. This was 2001 Space Odyssey mixed with Twin Peaks, mixed with more good sci-fi, all bundled into a very, very compact time frame. And the reason it worked, which I said in my thorn, was not because of the system, but my rose is it was because of everyone's buy-in to it. Everyone got what like everyone else was doing, and even if they didn't at the time, they like played into it and leaned into it until they did, and it was amazing. Like, this was such a cool story. So definitely roses to everyone who was in on this short little 2-session monstrously amazing game of Space Worm versus Moonicorn.
Cool, thank you. I'm going up River. We can get back to you for your roses.
So that little like thing that's going around says Infinity Wars is the most bold crossover to ever exist, and now I'm imagining this game being underneath it instead of like all the other like ridiculous things out there, because I felt like what David said, we just smashed so many things up together and it worked somehow. Like, cool. And I think you did a great job of pacing and moving the spotlight around and keeping us from stepping over each other's moves, which was definitely where it could have gone. And you were like, okay, move here, and we move here, and then here, and then here. And it was super necessary, because it could have turned into a complete cluster real fast. So thank you.
Thank you. My roses, first off, I want to say about the system. I think it's really interesting. I will kind of agree that we may not have gone with a classic. I think I said at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not sure if we exactly did Space Worm versus Moonicorn, but I for certain enjoyed it. There is, I think, we're supposed to have that rivalry and that off play of what they're doing. But there was a neatness to how this story kind of organically went. I love that you came in with Zenobia kind of as, rather than with some laser focus of what I'm going to do, what's going to happen, of just being that inspiration, just being that part in the middle where everything sort of coalesces around Moonicorn. It felt so natural the way you did it. All of your interactions were so nicely done. They gave me something to go with every time. And then when you were with Poe, the two of you together were brilliant. absolutely brilliant. To go to you, Rich, your Poe, so complex and unusual. And, you know, it took me a while through first session to say, what in the hell is this character? What is going on here? And then to see it become more and more defined, become more and more something I could go, oh, I feel this character. I am so with this story. You did such a good job with it. Such a good job. And you hit some of those really sweet moments, or those, you know, showing your vulnerability moments excellently. Just primo. Perfect. Patrick, I thought that I liked Asher. I liked all the kind of unusual, not person anymore, almost concept instead of person. This goal that had become not just you know, the driving thing in your mind. You had become the goal. That was really neat. And the humor of you and Baby together was so interesting. And to see how you played, you know, going through this in your times of being a toughie and at the other times of kind of being that guide, really nicely done. Beautiful, complex character there. Michael, I almost feel like I didn't get enough of you. I could never get enough of you. You are so good. This Space Worm was so neat. The way you kind of embodied and made it so weird. And, you know, its strange form where it had become the mutagen, and the mutagen was, you know, that alien concept you came up with really spoke to exactly what this Space Worm was. You were tough, but we ended up seeing, you know, those kind of cracks of the scales on occasion. It was excellent, 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 excellent. And David, Baby is the scariest thing I have seen in forever. That oh my God, I love that character. I cannot talk enough about that character. It stuck with me after the end of last time. Everything you did with it this time, so good. And such an interesting decision when reading the playbook to go to what you did. Because, you know, you get, you know, the easy thought is some sort of space vampire-y thing, or the easy thought is to, you know, go to something that's, you know, just the sneaky golem. You made something so unique and just such an impression. Oh, so good, so good. I do think that it needed a little more, if I'm, you know, as we're talking, enough people, you know, this many people. But and so I'm running the next one with 4 sessions. I'm going to do a session 0, which sets up the world, and then 3 to go through. Johnstone does sort of imply that this is a slice of life, the quick play, that you really aren't supposed to get all 3 fronts. And we
left the slice and took the rest of the cake.
Yeah, this was not a slice of life. This was like a crazy, like, this is the end kind of cosmic thing.
Yes.
We went a pie eating contest.
We were not leaving any crumbs on that table. No, not a one of us.
And, you know, and to that, that's definitely a rose. You guys took everything for this game and just ran with it. Y'all were so into every piece of it, and I cannot thank you enough for it. I love the fronts, I love the complexity, but I think the important thing we saw was really the people dealing with each other's, the drive of the character. The fronts were just the setting, and that's what I think was really cool about it. Is we found our story in the midst of all of it, and that was first rate, and I applaud all of y'all. Y'all are absolutely wonderful. So thank you all for playing. And I'm going to stop the broadcast here in a second, but I want to say thank you, Johnstone Metzger, for making this wonderful game. I will play it again. Your book's wonderful. Y'all should support it. Any broadcast